going to get going. Sending data, folks. I'm going to say screw it. We got a bunch of stuff we're taking care of. Let's go live. Cool. All right, folks. We're going to jump into this one. We're doing something different today. So, all right, everybody. So, let me move this out of the way, and then we're just going to kind of get going. So, this is a little bit of a later one, but I just wanted to kind of do this build because this has been one I've been genuinely looking forward to taking care of. So we're going to be doing a Topre build today. Most of the time we do Alps or sometimes Cherry MX. So Topre is really, really cool kind of switch platform that I have a lot of experience with. And this is a Topre build I'm really excited for, so which is going to be really cool. So this is going to either be Topre or electrocapacitive, which is going to be really nice. So let me kind of go through so as you can kind of see we have some of the main components that are going to make up this board. This is going to be a relatively quick stream. We'll probably be out of here probably a little under an hour. So really, really quick stream, but this should be a really fun build that we're going to do. So let me kind of show you what we're going to do. So it's, as you can see, this is from KBDFans. So KBDFans was kind of my first entry into the mechanical keyboard hobby. I used to have a ton of KBDFans stuff, but over kind of transitioned away most of the KBDFans stuff. I have a couple other boards still left. I have my KBDFans KBD8X Mark III and also my KBDFans Boop. Those are my two favorite KBDFans boards, and we're now going to have back to a third KBDFans board, which will be pretty sick. So we'll kind of show this one. This one's really cool. So this board is called the Agar Mini. So let me kind of pull this out and kind of show why this board is just kind of ridiculous and kind of crazy. So this is a 40% keyboard. So I'll kind of pull out another 40% that I have, just kind of explain what the heck 40% are for anyone who's kind of interested. So 40% keyboards are kind of interesting. So 40% literally just have 4 rows of keys, and they're known for being really, really small. Which is pretty cool. So what's really kind of cool here is you're missing the entire number row. With 40%, there's no function row, there's no home cluster, there's no number pad. You literally just have kind of your alphas and your kind of bare minimum for modifiers. So they're known for being really small. They normally have 2 space bars, which are really cool. But everything is going to be layers. So everything that you say is missing, like your F row, your numbers, are going to be activated via layers. So there's different layers on here. I have them set up. So this, if I press this function button, this is going to give me my numbers. And also if I press the shift button, that's going to give me also my symbols like hashtag, @ things like that, the $. And then if I press this space bar, this is going to give me my F row, which is going to be really cool, which I have set there. So 40%, it is a learning curve. They're really cool. What's really nice with 40% is you can really kind of learn about how to do different layers and things like that. So I have 6 40%. So this is my minivan. And I'll kind of showcase some of them. I got this one in a couple weeks ago. This is the Lazy Designers Duo 40, which is really, really cute. So really cute little pink build, which I love. We have this 40% right here, which is really kind of cool. So it's really, really tiny. It's really, really small. So I love this one. This is my Gion F1 8X40. This is my Singa Neko 40% keyboard, which is really cool. So really, really nice, really, really tiny keyboard. So fun little board. And then I also have my Jackie design Hi-Ton 40, which is this is kind of ridiculous for a 40%, but Jackie loves his big bezels, so these are all really, really nice 40% boards. So we're gonna add the Agar Mini being our 6th one. So but all of those are Cherry MX. This is gonna be based around Topre, and I'll kind of show what a Topre switch is when we kind of get into it. So, and also it makes this board really cool. It's made out of solid brass. So this thing is maybe small, but this thing probably weighs 5 or 6 pounds. It's really freaking heavy. So I have another all brass board that's currently waiting on parts. I haven't built it out yet, but like this is my GeonWorks Frog Mini Passante. Both of these are made of solid brass. And on the bottom, each of them has a stainless steel weight. So this thing is at like 10 pounds. So this thing's ridiculously heavy. So like I love all brass boards. They're a little bit expensive for what they are. You see this one has a stainless steel weight. I haven't taken the plastic off because that's the nice mirror reflection. You can kind of see the reflection of the screen and everything on there. So really, really cool one. No, this is solid brass. So this is So this is basically raw brass, but they put like a protective clear coat because you don't coat brass, it's gonna patina and wear down over time, which is really cool. But yeah, but this is, again, this is what brass looks like kind of in its natural color, which is really nice. So we're gonna kind of get this board going. We'll kind of go through the smaller components. We for keycaps today, we're using a set I've been waiting to use for a while, which is going to be GMK Black and Gold. So we're going with the black and gold theme, which is going to be really cool. And since this is a 40, we kind of have all their special keycaps we had to get, so I had to order this add-on kit for this particular keyboard. And then we have some additional novelties that we're going to use for that, and also the switches. We're going to be using Topre switches. So I'll pull these out and kind of show you these. These are very, very different from like your standard Cherry MX or even the Alp switches that I do. Topre is kind of its own thing. I have a couple of Topre boards, and we'll be doing some Topre builds here in the future. But you can kind of see these are really, really different. You still have those pluses for the keycaps, but here's where the bottom gets kind of weird. And we're going to look at the PCB, and you're going to see this is a very, very weird, very, very different design. So you have these like kind of rubber pieces right here, and it's they're called electrocapacitive. So when you press the button down, this spring is going to touch the circuit board, and that's what's actually going to make contact with the PCB sending the signal. So it's a very different type of mechanism for these particular keyboards, but they're really cool. Topre, because you're kind of have your three main switch types. You have Cherry MX, you have Topre, and then you have Alps, which are really, really cool. So it's really cool. So I really love it. So these are Navies. So a lot of the Topre enthusiasts or kind of purists really don't like these switches. This particular board was really designed with Navies in mind. I was taught Clever over at Dynacap is really hoping to do a Dynacap kit for this board. But as we know with Dynacap, there's a ton of delays, and they're kind of focusing on the primary launch with everything. So I've never personally tried the Navies. I know certain people within the Topre community who are very, very much more deep and more knowledgeable about Topre. These are kind of hit or miss for them, but for this board, I eventually want to build it with Dynacap. But for right now, we're going to build it with the Navies, and then when Clever, again, maybe down the line when Clever gets the actual Dynacap kit for this board, we'll put Dynacap in to have more something that's closer to more OEM proper Topre. But for right now, this is going to get the job done. That's part of the reason I wanted this board, is it's all brass and I can build it as Topre, which is super sick. So that's going to be really cool. So we'll kind of go through the parts. I have a couple. So I got this from KBDFans. I pre-ordered this back in August, and it arrived like 2 days ago. So so it was a little bit. It was like a really quick turnaround, about 2.5 months for everything. So this is all of our hardware components. We have everything to build this board. So we have that components, and then also too, I'll get the other components that are in here, and we'll kind of see the different parts of this. So the first part is going to be our PCB. We'll take a look at that in a second. We have our actual plate assembly, which is going to be good. I ordered a spare PCB. That's just kind of my rule of thumb when I order keyboards. I always get a spare PCB. So we'll put that spare PCB in the box, and we'll put that with my PCB stowaway. And we also have foam. I am not a foam guy, even with Topre. Like when I built my HHKBs, things like that, I don't put any foam in them. So we're not going to be putting any foam. I'm very anti-foam, but some people like foam, but it's not my thing. I don't want a foamy keyboard, even with my Topre stuff. So we're going to basically throw that foam to the side and never use that. So we'll put the case over, we'll put the case away, and then we're just going to kind of get this one going, folks. So we'll put this board to the side, and we'll kind of showcase the actual PCB. Because that's where Topre, I think a lot of people, they're kind of blown away by how different the PCB is. It's very much its own kind of system and technology. And if you kind of pull the PCB, that's very different from what most people think of when they think of like a mechanical keyboard PCB. So you can kind of see that there are no hot swap sockets. There's no holes. So the way essentially what Topre is, again, you put the switch over that with the plate. And then when those springs compress down, they're going to make contact with the PCB, and that's what's going to be registering the signal, which is going to be really cool. So very, very different. It's very adorable. Another thing too about the mounting style with this particular board, it is a tray mount. So essentially there's going to be some of the there's going to be these rubber inserts that we push in, and then we're just going to basically push the board down into the board, and it's basically going to rest there. I mean, unless you like really hold it upside down and like freaking do that, like you're never gonna have to worry about your PCB falling out. So this is a really cool board. I have one other Topre board. I have my MM Studio Class 80 that's built as Topre, and then I have my MM Studio Class 0413, which we will be building probably the next week and a half as proper Topre. That build's been taking a while because I've been waiting on a plate to be made for that board because I had to build. I want to build it a certain way with a specific layout, and the plate I got from MM Studio Direct did not support the layout I wanted. So I had to have one custom made and custom cut. So this will be really cool. So really cool board, and also the daughter board is kind of unusual with this particular board. So we'll open up the daughter board. And you can kind of see the daughter board that KBDFans is really kind of embracing with a lot of their newer boards, which is pretty interesting. And the thing with KBDFans, I have a lot of love for KBDFans. Like, they were my very first ever keyboard in the mechanical keyboard hobby was a KBDFans board. I know some people are very critical of them, and I know KBDFans in the past had a lot of issues with like quality control and things like that. But KBDFans have definitely learned from their mistakes of their past, and a lot of their stuff that's coming out now is really awesome. So our daughter board is so it's a proprietary daughter board, but again, we're going to have our little USB-C port, and then again, this kind of little wavy snake thing, which is going to be cool, but we have pogo pins on this, which is really nice. So there's no JST port, but these pogo pins literally are hold on via magnets. So when we place the PCB in, there's no kind of fiddling with the JST. It's just literally just drop and plug and play, which is really nice. So they just literally just magnetically hold together. So that's really nice. So we'll get the hardware to mount that in the actual board. Let's take a look at our actual plate assembly as well, because Topre plates are also kind of interesting in terms of how you want to install them. So we will be doing some Topre over the next few weeks, folks. So giving Topre a lot of love because it is a platform that I really enjoy. And I have some Topre boards down the pipeline that are definitely going to get built. So my other Topre builds, we're waiting on Dynacap. So Dynacap's going to release whenever Clever and the team think that they are ready to do. So one thing about this plate, similar to kind of Hall Effect, you have to put these standoffs in, and you essentially sandwich the plate and the PCB together, and that's where we're going to insert our switches. So this is kind of different from how you traditionally assemble Topre. A proper Topre build is very different. And these are kind of cool because these switch assemblies are all kind of in one easy unit that just kind of snaps in. But normal Topre assembly is it's very involved, and there's a lot of parts you have to put in: the rubber, the springs, the sliders, the housings, all that stuff. So it's a very delicate and very involved process on proper Topre. And when we get to like our Dynacap builds, you'll kind of see, and we do the MM Studio 0413, you're going to kind of see kind of what it goes involved to a proper Topre build. It's going to be super cool. So I'm really excited to get this board going, and this is going to be really awesome. So we're going to get put our plate to the side. This is all of our plate hardware. I also want to take a look at some of the other hardware we're going to be utilizing. So this also comes with the stabilizers we're going to be using. So we are using the stabilizer kit. There's 2 stabs in here. I have to use I normally like using my own stabs and things like that, but we're using the factory KBDFans ones because we're using 3U split space bars. So 3U is very unusual. It's not a very, one of my boards that uses a 3U space bar. Split space bar is my Jackie Design High Ton 40. This is a 3U space bar, and the 3U wires are not very standard. Most of the wires you're going to find for smaller keys are going to be 2U wires. So 3U is very, very specific for this particular board. So that's why we're going to use that. That's our stabilizer kit, and this is just additional hardware I want to take a look at that we're going to use. So just kind of looking at it, just kind of getting everything from KBDFans. And another thing too, this is not a sponsored build. KBDFans did not pay me to do this. They also did not send this board to me. I paid for this board with my own money. And I'm really excited to get this board going. So, and these are going to be our rubber dampened inserts. They're going to kind of hold the PCB in place. So that's pretty cool. So kind of put that stuff to the side. I think the first thing we're going to do is put our daughter board in, and then we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to put the Navies off to the side, and we'll start doing our daughter board. So that's going to be really, really cool. So let's find a screwdriver bit for that because it's really small. So there we go. So we'll pull off this plastic cover, and then we'll get everything going. Another thing too about this board, it does support wireless, and it does. I'll show you guys in the bottom. This board actually does support wireless. Just because of shipping restrictions, KBDFans did not ship the battery with me. But if I wanted to make this board wireless, again, the PCB supports it, but I would have to purchase a battery myself. And it's a pretty standard battery that would just kind of slot in here, and then it would plug into my daughter board, which is really cool. So, hi, friends. So, right here, we can kind of see that this little plug right here, that's where you would actually plug in the port for the battery. And KBDFans has a link to a battery that you can buy in whatever region. Part of the reason KBDFans doesn't ship batteries with their boards to support wireless is import restrictions. A lot of countries around the world are very restrictive on importing batteries. So KBDFans just doesn't want to deal with that hassle or have your board be confiscated by customs, and that's why they kind of make their boards kind of compatible with batteries that you can easily get in wherever you are in the world, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of a cool thing that KBDFans does. In terms of not shipping a battery. But it's nice that it gives it the option. I personally don't like wireless. It's just not my style. But it's nice that they give it as an option. So I prefer my boards to be wired in. What's up, Welva? Nice having you on, my man. But that's something that's just kind of cool. So we're going to get our screws out and we'll kind of screw in our daughter board. And then we'll get our rubber inserts put in as well. So this is just a really quick build, folks. I mean, this shouldn't take more than an hour. This is not an Alps build. Like, the one thing I've learned with Alps are a very involved process. Like, when I get to do Topre, at least with Navies, it's not. But when we do the 0413 in a couple of weeks, you're going to see, like, that's an involved build. That's a very involved keyboard. That'll be a proper Topre build is very, very involved. I just dropped this screw right here. So that's just the kind of thing that's just kind of interesting. So we're going to definitely get some good stuff going with this board. So I've been really excited for this board, and I cannot wait to finally get this board in my collection, because this will go really great with my Frog Mini Passante, which will be really nice. Which my Frog Mini Passante, still waiting to build it. It's not built right now, but because I just kind of figuring out. So that's our daughter board kind of screwed in. And again, another thing too that we can kind of eventually, if I want to, I could get the correct battery like off Amazon, and then I could just put that battery right in there and plug it in, and then this board would support wireless, which is really cool. So it's nice that KBDFans gives us that option with this particular board. So let's switch our bit, and let's put our protective cover over our daughter board back. And then that's going to be our daughter board, and then we'll put in our rubber inserts, and then we're going to get this board going. So yeah, again, I'm normally doing Alps, but again, I do love the other switch types within the hobby. Like in Topre, I have a Hall Effect build. Hall Effect's really not my thing. Like I am a gamer. I do enjoy video games in my free time, but like I'm not a type of gamer where like Hall Effect really matters. Like I'm not that good. I'll be completely honest. I'm terrible at video games. Like, but I still enjoy playing them. But I don't do competitive gaming, so like really diving into Hall Effect really doesn't make sense for me. But I do have a Hall Effect build, just to say I have a Hall Effect board on hand, and I have some Topre stuff. Of course, I have Cherry MX, and of course, we have Alps. We have the Blue Alps, OmniKey 102. And on topic of Alps, like I'll show you guys a teaser of a build we'll probably see in a few weeks. It's just, I just got it in, but it's going to be several weeks of work to get this board going. So picked up another Northgate OmniKey just to kind of tease this one. I got a Northgate OmniKey Plus. So this is modeled after the Northgate OmniKey 102. So the F-row, instead of being up here, is over here on the side, but it has the 8K cluster. This thing is absolutely disgusting, and these switches are horrifying. They're pine whites, which are really nice, but these switches are horrifyingly horrible. So it's going to take a few weeks to get this board to tear everything down and restore all the individual components, but be on the lookout, folks. We have another OmniKey, and I purchased another OmniKey today, which is a rarer model. I got a 101N OmniKey today for a pretty good deal. So we got some cool OmniKey stuff coming in the coming week. So we got the two restored OmniKeys behind me, and then we got the other OmniKey 102 with Blue Alps. So OmniKeys are like my new favorite thing. So we're definitely going hard on those. So just a little teaser for Alps and some Alps projects coming up. So, which is going to be really cool. All right, let's put in these rubber inserts at the bottom. These are actually going to hold our PCB in place. So these little rubber inserts, again, they're just nice, a softer durometer rubber, but these will essentially create enough friction to kind of hold our PCB in place. So we're just going to kind of insert those in the bottom of the case, get everything in there, and then we'll, I think, be ready to kind of move on to what's going to take up most of our time, which is the PCB. So this is a tray-mounted board, which is really nice. So, but it is Topre. You're not getting like that distinct like sound profile. Topre just sounds like Topre, to be completely honest. I think Topre is more known for its feel. Topre is actually really quiet, which is really nice. And you can modify Topre further to be even more quiet. So as you like silent switches, Like Topre is definitely a good exploration. I think that's nice with Topre. It's definitely exploded, and more people are getting into Topre and kind of exploring Topre as an option. So we are pretty much done with our bottom case, folks. So that's our bottom case assembly. So we have our 4 rubber spacers right there, which will again hold our PCB in. And we have our daughter board mounted, which is really nice. So we're going to put all this over to the side, and then we're going to start working on our actual PCB assembly. So this is what we're going to do. So we got to lube our 2 stabilizers. So we're going with 3. We're doing 2, 3. We're going to go split space bar. So one thing that's nice about this board, it supports kind of two options. You can either go with a 6U bottom row space bar. So you can go with a full, so you can go 6U. And that's another thing interesting too with 40%. I tell people, be very mindful of what keycaps you go with, because again, there's a bunch of weird caps with the modifiers and also the spacebar row. So you really want to do your research when you're getting ready to buy a 40%. Really look into keycap sets and really figure out if your keycap set, the keycap set you want, has the correct keys for a 40%. Like I'm a big fan of GMK for my Cherry MX keycap sets. GMK is not well known for their 40% compatibility. There's only very few GMK sets that have proper 40% compatibility. It's getting better, but like all my 40% I showed on camera, like all have GMK sets on them. So I had to be really particular figuring out, because also with my builds, I like having a color theme to go with it. So like my Lazy Designers Duo 40, like I had GMK Livy and I knew that was 40% compatible, and then I had to figure out a board color scheme that would go with that to match that. So that's something that's just kind of cool. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. But we're not going with a 6U, because like 6U is a not really standard. It's more common in HHKBs, like true HHKBs. Most keyboards are going to support either a 6.25U or a 7U spacebar. So 6U is really uncommon, except for like true HHKBs. But we're going even more unstandard with 3U space-bars. So we're going split space bars, and split space bars are really advantageous for 40%, because that allows you to only use one of those space bars, and the other half of the space bar you can use to engage layers, which is going to be really good. So awesome. So that's what we're going to go. So we're going split space bar right there. Let's get our stabilizer parts out, and we'll kind of go from there. So those are our screws. These are our washers that'll go under the PCB. We'll do those later. I want to see, those are additional screws. And then we have our stabilizer parts. So that's what we're going to do. So cool. So let's get all these puppies out, and then we'll kind of go from there. So we are going to be utilizing we might be able to get away with better stabilizers if we're just going to go with these. This is 1.6. This is 1.6. Okay, screw this. We're going with proper. I'm going to use proper. Oh, never mind. I can't. I got to use these because I have to use the wires. So never mind. We're using these. So yeah, we have to use these because it's compatible with the wires. Never mind. So we're okay. It's okay. All right, let's, I just want to figure out how these work, because every stabilizer kit's a little bit different, so we just want to make sure that we're using everything correctly. All right. Cool. Let me just make sure I'm assembling this correctly, everybody, so give me a second. Okay, we got to clip some stuff off of here too. So we're going to use 2 sets of space bars, and then cool. We'll throw those to the side, folks. So I need to go grab these little side cutters really quick. Give me a second. There we go. Let me just grab these really quick. I gotta grab these really quick just so we can get it going. So there's some stuff we gotta cut off at the bottom here. So that's just gonna make life a little bit easier. All right, cool. Yeah, we just gotta cut these off. This just makes life cool. Yeah, we're just cutting those off just to make life a little bit easier for these stabilizers. So. And it's funny, KBDFans recommends cutting these off in their like build guide for this board. So we're just gonna get these going, and again, once we get these tuned up and lubed, we should be fine. So, but yeah, we're using Cherry MX style stabs, but again, we're using the 3U wires. Normally, I would use like Type Plus or Durox, but We're going to be using the factory ones because, again, we got to use these proprietary, these uncommon 3U wires. So, all right. And then, yeah, we'll screw into those. Perfect. Cool. And then let's cut this part off. And then we'll get going, folks. So, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, so we're live here on Instagram and Twitch, which is really nice. So, all right, we're done. We're done cutting those. So let's get my lube out. We're using dielectric grease today. So, and then we will be using a little bit of 205G0 on the PCB. I'll show you a method I've picked up in the Topre community that I really like using. So, all right, so let's get these let's get these parts and these wires lubed up, and then we'll get these mounted, and then yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So it should be good. So, all right. So yeah, we're just going to put in some lubricant in the the main housing, and then the part that goes inside. So it's pretty good. So we're just going to lube this one up, and then I'll kind of show you. We will be using a little bit of 205G0, and we're actually going to lube the PCB. That's something that you can do within Topre, and I've done it on my Topre builds where you lube the PCB, and I'll show you how you lube a PCB, folks. So yeah, Topre is its own thing, and it's very different, and I love it. Topre is really cool. I mean, I've had the privilege to meet like Ryan Norbauer, who's kind of like, think of like super uber luxury stuff within the Topre space. Like Ryan Norbauer is the guy to do that. So, which is really cool. We may be doing something with Ryan in the future, which would be really, really cool. So, yeah, we're just getting all this stuff lubed up. But again, we only have to do 2 stabs, which is nice. It's not like I have to do a bunch of Alps stabs or like a Cherry Mex board that's like a full size with like 8 freaking stabs. So it's nice. We're only doing 2. So this is a quick part, but this is a really quick build, folks. Again, like I said, we'll probably be out of here in the next 30 or so minutes. So this is 40% are very easy, especially when they're not. And most of the builds, to be completely honest, when I build them, they're really simple. Like, and if it's not Alps, it's a very simple build for me. Alps are just the one that are like super, super involved for me because I want to do them right, and like Alps are just like a ton of work, which is pretty interesting. So I want to make sure I'm putting this in correctly. So that's just the thing with it. So you just want to make sure you do everything correctly, and just kind of take your time, especially with like when you're doing like something like when you're getting like something more complex like Alps, whether it be like restorations or converting a modern board. Like those definitely take a lot of time, especially with like this whole switch restoration process and like harvesting stuff and restoration. Like that OmniKey I just showed y'all, it's probably going to take me the better part of 2 or 3 weeks to get everything torn down and like properly restored. So there's a lot of work that goes, like my 3 OmniKeys that I just did, like those were a truckload of work to get those boards properly restored. But it's worth it because these boards, like this board is probably my favorite board in my collection now. Like my Blue Alps OmniKey, I absolutely love this thing, and this thing has not left my desk since I built it. Like, I think this is my permanent board that's staying on my desk. Because I rotate between boards a lot. This board, I never thought I would come across a board that would make me not want to rotate through boards, and it's this one right here. This board is amazing, and it's my new favorite. I'm doing a keyboard meet with KeyBlife. We're doing a mini meet over at a brewery over in Anaheim, California, which will be really cool on November 15th, which will be really nice, and I'm taking the 3 OmniKeys. So it'll be really nice to kind of showcase people like probably the best Alps board or best Alps chassis ever made, which was really cool. Like at least from the vintage era of like the original run of when Alps keyboards were still being produced. So that's going to be really cool to kind of show people a really, really cool line of keyboards. And like I said, I have one that just came in. I bought another OmniKey today. So I would love, my goal would be to collect like most of the major variants that are labeled Northgate OmniKey. Northgate was also like an OEM. I don't really care about like getting like some of the non-branded ones that Northgate made for other companies, but I want to get like all the Northgate branded ones. And I have 6, and I think there's only about 10 or 12 of them, so we should be good. So I have my eye on the other ones I need to get, but it'll be really cool to kind of have like, eventually have like the proper line of Northgate OmniKey keyboards, which is really nice. So they're really, really nice boards. So awesome. So we're just getting these puppies going. And then, yeah, we'll have our main stab housings lubed. And then we'll do our wires really quick. And then we'll screw these puppies in. So Apple keyboards with ivory switches, it depends. That's probably the most common Alps Apple keyboard that was made. I mean, I literally bought 4 ivory Apple keyboards for like $70 a few weeks ago, and these are all the switches. I have a metric crapload of ivories. So no, like honestly, like you can get an Apple extended keyboard 2 M3501 for like, I don't know, like $20 to $30 realistically. I wouldn't pay any more than $40 for an ivory AEK2, to be completely honest. They're just not worth it. I mean, they're cool boards, and I mean, I'm working on sourcing because I want a clean one. The ones I've gone after are got clapped and destroyed because I'm going to destroy them for parts. I want the switches. So like, I do want a clean example of an ivory AEK2, and I'm just kind of being patient in terms of my eBay search because I don't want to pay a lot of money because I don't think the board's worth that much. But I also am just being patient because I want to find, when I get one, I want a super, super clean one that I can then restore. So I can have a clean example of that one. So it's been pretty interesting. But yeah, they're fun boards. Like, I love AEKs. I mean, I have my AEK one with Orange Alps, and I have an AEK coming in tomorrow that I hope has Salmon Alps. We're gonna see. But it's just kind of a luck of the draw because I really want I want some Salmon Alps Apple stuff, which is really cool. So, all right, we got that one in. Perfect. Awesome. I'm just going to put a little bit of lube around this wire area right here. Okay, cool. All right, so, yeah. I mean, Sandman, like, I would definitely, I mean, if you have any salmon stuff, that's what I'll be completely honest. I am chilling on ivories. I'm chilling on Orange Alps. The switch that's been really hard for me to track down are Salmon Alps, believe it or not. Like, I'll find, even though oranges are rarer in the earlier and more desirable ones, I need more salmons for some like restorations and projects I'm working on, and I am having it's so much harder for me to find salmons, which is annoying. And also, like, I feel like the supply of salmons is drying up, so yeah, I only have one board that's built with, like, modern board that's built with salmons, and they're a really pleasant switch to use. I love salmons. But yeah, that's just kind of how I just kind of see it, folks. But yeah, we're just kind of getting this one lubed up. That one's good. Let's do this other one. So yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like, if you see any like salmon stuff, like, that's really what I'm trying to look for, is like salmon stuff or any more Northgate, like literally old like Apple boards with salmons, or like Northgate OmniKeys. That's literally what I'm looking for at this point, vintage wise. And I mean, like I said, I'm curious about that battleship that you guys have. Well, considering I impulse bought a Northgate OmniKey, I wasn't expecting to buy today. I'll kind of, if you guys maybe are willing to hold it, I may buy it next month. But if you find another buyer before me, please sell it, because I know y'all are a business and I want y'all to make money. So, but yeah, I will eventually start getting into like the buckling spring stuff. But I want to round out my OmniKey collection. And I also want to get the remainder of like the vintage Apple Alps boards I want to get. So I need to finish out the vintage boards that I want for Apple. I want a salmon AEK1. I need both a salmon and an ivory AEK2. I need a salmon M0116, and then I need a salmon 2GS keyboard. Once I get those, my Apple, what I want vintage Apple wise, is pretty good. So it's just pretty cool. But yeah, like once I get those boards Apple wise, I think I'm done with vintage Apple keyboards, which are cool. And then I just want to finish out my OmniKey. And then once I have the OmniKey and the Apple stuff, then I'll kind of reassess, okay, what else do I want to start going after vintage wise? But yeah, there we go. We got our 2 stabs lubed, which are really nice. So, and then also, since I know Blue Keeps is on here too, we got this board here, which is kind of cool. This is a later, like, different company produced an AEK, which is kind of cool. This is called a MacTush. I mean, Blue Keeps could probably tell me more about this board. This board's amazing, Blue Keeps. Honestly, I might just like take some clean up those scuffs and like switch swap this because I want the pine whites. But like, honestly, I don't see much work I need to do for this board, to be completely honest. Like, I mean, I might swap keycaps because I hate pad printed keycaps. But we'll probably either sell this, like restore, like do the restoration I need to do on this board, and then we'll probably either do a giveaway with this board, or we'll probably just sell it. But it's a cool board. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. So keep on the lookout too, folks. There's another board project that's in the pipeline for like cool stuff in the future. So Good times. Oh, that's where the wire went. I was wondering where that went last night. Well, it's fine. So, all right. So let's figure out figure out what screws we got to go with this one. Okay. I don't know what screw is what. Huh, interesting. I'm going to go with the black ones because I'm assuming that's the one we go with. So, so we'll see. But yeah, we're just doing some fun stuff, everybody. So, all right, let's get our screws out, and we also have our washers we're going to utilize on this board. So, let's get these mounted, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, and I love that this is a 1.6 mil PCB. So, I love me my 1.6. Cool. All right, and then yeah, we'll get those going. So we want to just play around with what is what on this. I need to see, are these the ones that go in? Or is it the different one? Yeah, it's these ones. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's get some washers going. Then we'll screw these ones in. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, that looks good. So we'll get these ones screwed in, and then we'll start getting our plate ready, because that's going to be our next one that we're going to do. So we'll get our plate assembly ready, and then I'll kind of show you. Once we get that plate assembly, we'll lube the PCB, which is going to be fun. That's always one of my personal favorites, and those feel good. Awesome. So this is a fun little board, everybody. So I'm really, really excited how this one's going. So it's a good time, folks. Just kind of building a fun little board, and this is going to be my only Topre 40%, and my only all brass 40%. Yeah, those are good. And then one more. And then we're done with our stabilizers for the most part. Yeah, so come on, friends. Yeah. But also, Sandman, if you ever like decide to get rid of those like ivory AEK boards for like next to nothing, let me know, because I'd take them off your hands, because I literally would just harvest them for the parts. I would use them for the switch parts. So if you ever want to get rid of those, just let me know. If you still have them, like maybe after like the year. 1% build. I mean, I thought about doing the ISO GR board. I didn't want to spend $90 for the meme. So there we go. Let me just get a little bit of a thing and wipe off some of the excess lube over here. And then I think we're good here. So let me just feel my stabs. Not my favorite stabs in the world, but hey, it's going to work. It'll get the job done. So I'm going to put the PCB over to the side. And then now we're going to start working on our... Now we're going to start working on our plate and PCB assembly. And that's where we're going to kind of see kind of where Topre gets a little bit weird. And kind of what makes it different. So we got to get all this Topre hardware here. So let's pull out all of our Topre hardware. And then we'll start preparing the plate to be basically bolted together with the PCB. So that's what we're kind of doing now. So we're just getting all these parts out of here. Come on, get out of there. I want all of them. Cool. Got that. And then, yeah, I mean, and it's tough too, because like, I don't like. I mean, I want the 3 salmon boards I want. I want my M0115, I want my M0116, and I want my 2GS. Once I have those, I'll be pretty good on, like, salmon boards. You like I said, like you can find salmons, but like the particular boards that I'm looking for, I'm having a tough time finding them. So, and I mean, I like salmons. They're a little bit heavier than orange Alps, and they have a really nice sound. I have them built in my my only salmon build I have is my GeonWorks Frog Mini, which is really, really nice. So, all right, so let's start putting these standoffs and everything in here, and then we'll really getting everything going. So we're just kind of screw in all these standoffs because Topre is very different in terms of how you put it together compared to like Cherry MX and things like that. So, yeah, but salmons are good. I think they're a really good, I think for the money, I think they're a really good switch in the world of Alps. I mean, I have a decent supply of salmons, but I want more because for like client builds or stuff future projects that I'd want to do in the future, I just would like to have more of a supply of salmons. That's like the one switch that's been like, actually, it's not that it's expensive, it's just been harder for me to find. And I'm finding oranges way easier than like salmons, which is just like really weird. So yeah, we got to put all these standoffs in. And then once we get all these standoffs mounted, then we can start screwing the PCB together and also lubing the PCB. So yeah, there's a lot of standoffs. And Topre, it's a process. And again, when we do the 0413, y'all will see like what goes into like a proper Topre build because it is a lot. It's a lot that goes into Topre, but I think Topre is kind of fun. And again, there are a lot of people within the keyboard space who really love Topre. I mean, Norbauer, for example, he doesn't care for Cherry MX. Like, he only has ever dealt with Topre. But even like someone like Teja from the like Teja types, like his favorite types of keyboards are Topre, which is really cool. So it's really kind of nice, just kind of, Topre is, I think, a breath of fresh air within the world of mechanical keyboards. And it's nice that more people are kind of discovering the greatness that is Topre in electrocapacitive keyboards. And I think with the Dynacap project from Clever, I think that's really going to open up, I think, Topre/EC keyboards to like the masses and really bring people in. Because I think I was talking about on stream the other night is like the thing with the mechanical keyboard hobby, I think we're in a good spot. I think we're past like the people who were kind of part of the hype of COVID and things like that. I think a lot of those people have left. But I think one thing within the mechanical keyboard space is things are pretty stale. Like, I mean, Cherry MX is awesome. I love my Cherry keyboards and they're not going anywhere. But like, it's kind of boring. And I mean, that's why I think I've been pretty successful with the Alps niche that I've been kind of working at within the space, because Alps provide people with something different from like the traditional Cherry MX space where that dominates the keyboard hobby. And I think that's why also people are, I think, looking for something different from the very oversaturated market of Cherry MX. So I think that's the one thing I think is really cool with like the Dynacap project and people getting interested in like Alps and Topre. Like, it provides a very different experience. Now, I don't recommend as a beginner getting into like Alps or Topre because the builds are way more involved and there's a lot more that goes into the builds. It's not going to be like as simple and intuitive as like your like standard hot swapped Cherry MX. Like, these are not beginner friendly keyboards in terms of their assembly. But I really think people should definitely explore like Topre and Alps because I think it's just a fun side of the hobby and a really fun technology that's so different from like Cherry MX. Which I think that's why I really enjoy it. And like one of my friends who's really into keyboards too, like he freaking loves Topre. Like his favorite keyboard is his HHKB Pro 2, which is really cool. So there's a lot of like Topre is definitely a fun side of the hobby, and it's nice that like more support is coming to the Topre side for like keycaps and different parts to mod and adjust switch weights and domes and springs like that. So there's a lot of stuff coming to the market. And again, I think the most exciting thing for electrocapacitive/Topre keyboards is Dynacap. So when we eventually get Dynacap, it will release when it's ready. Hopefully by the end of the year. If not by the end of the year, hopefully maybe the Q1 or Q2 of 2026. Hopefully. So we're just going to kind of see. But there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up that should be really exciting for people to see. So, oops, didn't get that screw in there properly. But, you know, like I said, I'm way more, I think what interests me in the hobby way more now is going to be like Alps and Topre. I mean, I love Cherry, and I still have some Cherry boards, and there's some Cherry MX projects that kind of interest me. But like, I think I've kind of experienced what the Cherry MX side of the hobby kind of has to offer, and that's why like I've really kind of gone in hard on like the vintage, the Alp stuff, and also soon the Topre stuff, and like the electrocapacitive stuff. Because again, like, what else am I going to get out of Cherry MX stuff? It's kind of been there, done that, in terms of all that stuff. So, all right, we're done with the standoffs. So I'm going to put the standoffs in our first set of screws away, and then we're going to kind of jump into our other ones. So let's get this one going, and then we got our PCB here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put this over the PCB, and then there are all of these holes, and we're going to put screws in all those holes, and that's going to sandwich everything together. So this plate and PCB assembly will not separate. Now before we do that, I actually want to do some lubing of the plate, actually the actual PCB. So one thing with Topre, it's not, not everyone has to do it, but one little mod that I learned that kind of just smooths things up and it kind of helps with contact is actually lubing the PCB. So if we look at the PCB, there are these kind of little circles around the PCB. So we're actually going to apply a very thin layer of lube in these little circle areas. So that's what we're going to kind of do. And that's just going to help with some contact and things like that. It's very, very light. We're not doing a super thick layer. It's just to kind of help with contact. So there's about 40 or so switches on here. So we're just putting a very light coat of lube essentially over where the switches are going to be. So something I do on my Topre builds it helps me with the feel. It's not and again, you don't have to do it with your Topre builds, but it is just something that I've picked up while on the Topre side that I really enjoy. So we're just going to lube our PCB. Yes, we are lubing a PCB, folks. So, yeah, I didn't think you'd see that tonight on stream, did you? So, yeah, we're going to lube up our PCB. So it's a fun time, everybody. So, yeah, so really, really cool stuff. And again, we're just going to we only have about 40 switches, so it's not like I'm doing a HHKB, or if I had like a real force, like full size, we got to do like 100 of these dang things. When we do the 0, 4, and 3, that build's going to take for freaking ever when we get to that board. Plate for that board will come tomorrow. I have a big shipment of plates coming in tomorrow for both personal and some client builds. Life is good, friends. Life is good. So welcome. So we're building a Topre build today. So instead of our normal fanfare here is Alps, but we're doing a Topre build tonight. So we're doing the KBDFans Agar mini full brass version with that's the electrocapacitive kit. So we've lubed our stabilizers. We put our standoffs on our plate. We're actually lubing the PCB, which is kind of cool. So it's an interesting mod. Like the thing with Topre, there's a lot of different mods that you can do with like adding like O-rings, different types of lube on like sliders and the PCB. So there's a lot of different ways you can get creative with Topre to kind of tune sound and feel. And one thing that I like with my Topre builds is I like lubing the PCB. I only lube the part where the actual switch spring comes into contact with. So that's going to be really, really cool. So that's going to be really cool. So yeah, friends, you think I'm weird? This is an actual mod within the Topre community. So if you're not really familiar with like Topre or like electrocapacitive stuff, like this is actually a thing. You're lubing your PCB. Keyboard has a really good video on this where he does this. So it's a good time, folks. So we are getting it good. So we're just lubing this PCB. So we got our first row. So we're going to lube our PCB, and then it's going to be a good time, everybody. So got about 40 or so switches we got to do here. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but we just want a nice little light coating of 205G. 205G0 on this particular PCB where each of the switches are going to go. So that's what we're doing. Cool. So that's what we're doing, folks. So yeah, we're just getting it going. So we're about getting close to halfway. So this is the part of the build that's probably going to take the longest, but hey, it's going to be really nice once these are going to feel. This is going to make them feel. I can't really lube the Navies. I was kind of exploring options on lubing them, and I just realized after looking into these switches, it's not. I mean, they're not a 1-to-1 comparison to like OEM Topre. Oh God, I could probably, I don't know, man. I have to do a little more research. But I mean, just for full transparency, Sandman, like, if because I picked up the Omni key, I probably would have to wait till like next month to realistically pick it up. Now, with that being said, if you guys are cool with that, awesome. But I also know that you guys are a business and you guys want to try and sell your inventory. So if you find please don't feel obligated to hold on to it for me. If you guys have it, come December, like I'd be absolutely really interested in seriously getting it from you guys. But if you guys find someone who's seriously interested, like please sell it to them, because again, I want you guys to. Again, I know you guys are a business, and I want you guys to be able to sell your inventory and whatnot, because that's how businesses work. So, but yeah, if you guys have it come December, let me know, and I'll definitely be interested in making y'all an offer on that, because I do want a battleship because they're so cool. Yeah. Oh heck yeah, dude. So yeah, we definitely could work something out. So, but again, like I said, if you like, please promote that board. Like, don't hold it. Please don't feel obligated to hold it for me. Like, if you find someone who genuinely wants to purchase it, please sell it to them. Like that's just me being courteous of your guys and your business. So, but yeah, that's gonna be super cool. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But yeah, it's a really cool time, and I'm loving seeing this board could come together. This is a really cool little board. Yeah, we probably should be out of here in the next like 20 or so minutes. This is not a long stream at all. I'm gonna see if it works out tomorrow, but we're probably gonna be on stream building an restored Focus FK 2001 that I got from Blue Cubes. So really excited for that board, which will be really awesome, and it's gonna be really cool. So we're getting these other portions lubed, and we're almost there, folks. So once we get to that space bar row, it'll be really easy. So yeah, we're just working our way down. So all right, so all right. Come on, we're getting to our last few switches here, and then we'll be able to start screwing everything together. All right, so got that one, and then we're gonna jump on down to our final row. You can kind of see us filling in. Got like 6 more switches, and then we'll be good to go. So as you can, camera's doing a pretty good job picking up the lube. So we're not lubing the entire PCB. We're literally just lubing where the switches are going to make contact. So very different technology on Cherry MX. Again, people who come from the Cherry MX area may not be familiar with Topre. This is, again, it's a really, really cool tech how it works. So we got one more. And there we go. All right, cool. That's our 205G0 for that one, which is really cool. So we'll put that 205G0 away. We're just done with our lube, and let's carefully put on our plate here, and then we'll start screwing in our assembly. Okay, let's flip this over, and let's line up our screw holes. And we'll start screwing everything in together. We'll start sandwiching it all together. Okay, got that hole. I just gotta get a couple of corners, and then it's pretty easy to screw the rest in. So there we go. We've got all of our lube intact, which is really nice. Sweet. All right, let's start screwing everything in. Another thing too, also, when you do this portion, screwing the PCB, don't go ridiculously tight. Like, just do really nice. Just do like a little like finger tight. You do not, because you'll damage your PCB. So when you do Topre, if you do a Topre build, again, these do not have to be ridiculously torqued down. Like, just barely finger tight, folks. These are not going to really come out. But yeah, if you really like ratchet these down, you're going to damage the PCB. So, does not have to be ridiculously torqued down. So I just kind of work, my kind of rule of thumb when I do these, I just kind of work my way around. Cool. And that's the one thing with Topre. There's a lot of screws that go into these boards. So, but it's a really cool little board. And this is the bulk of the work, actually. Once we get the navies in, we should be on like the home stretch. And then we'll put the PCB assembly in. And then we'll put our figure out how we're going to configure our keycaps. And we'll program this puppy. And I'll show you how I have mine configured. So, there we go. Got 2 more screws, and then that'll be our assembly. Cool. All right, there we go, folks. There is our assembly. You can see all that beautiful lube in there, which is going to be really cool. So I want to put the rest of this Topre hardware in here, and then we'll start inserting the navies, which will be really cool. So let's get these out. So I had to order 2 sets. This takes about 40, and a set of navies has 35. So we're gonna have a bunch of navies left over, which I think is just kind of funny. So let's get this one set out, this one box, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, I've never inserted these properly, so I gotta figure out how I'm inserting these. So yeah, like this. So let me just see. Let me just drop in like that. Okay, cool. So we're just going to start going across. Cool. That's really simple. Like, that's a way easier. Because, again, whenever you do the 0413 build, y'all are going to see that, like, how involved Topre actually is. Oh, those are really smooth, too. Yeah, those are fine. I mean, these are going to get the job done until I get a Dynacap kit for this, hopefully. So, cool. This is looking pretty good, folks. And I like that it's like, we're going with a black and gold theme, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so this is going to be really nice. Cool. I'll put the ones in the spacebar area first, just to get those ones down. Cool. Do the perimeter. Cool. Yeah, these look really nice. All right. Looking good, folks. Yeah, these are really nifty little switch. I'm really excited to get to work with these. So, almost there. Once we go through this set, we'll get the, oops, put that in wrong, has to go this way. So, come along, and then we'll drop this into the main PCB, sorry, the main case, and then we'll get her with keycaps. She'll be really nice. All right, so we're done with this kit of navies. Dude, Welvin, please DM me. Okay, Welvin, DM me the images of that board. I'm like, I can tell you everything you need to know about it. I've kind of become an expert on OmniKeys. But yeah, Welvin, please send me pictures. I want to see the score you got, because I got this this OmniKey right here. This is the gold badge OmniKey with blue Alps, and I got it for $80. So yeah, I'm with you on like getting OmniKeys for a steal. Like, this is the rarest and most sought after OmniKey, and I got it for $80. So yeah, but yeah, dude, I'm jealous. I want to see it so bad, dude. I want to see your OmniKey. I'm like a sucker for OmniKeys. I mean, the fact that I have one right here and then two behind me and one off camera and another one on the way, and I can tell you can really see I really like OmniKeys. So since I've really kind of been embracing and going into like the vintage side of keyboards, like OmniKeys are probably my favorite. Especially with Alps. I think that's the best Alps chassis ever created. Like, it's like, because, well, and the, oh, nice, White Alps. Ooh, OmniKey Plus. Cred, Welvin, is it this one? Because I have an OmniKey Plus. So, this is an OmniKey Plus. So, if you have the 8K cluster, we have the same keyboard. So, because I got that one for a good deal. So. Oh, heck yeah, dude. We have the same keyboard. Yeah, it's a cool board. I love 8K. 8K clusters are sick. So, I mean, Welvin, too. If you want me to restore it, dude, I'd be happy to restore it. I mean, I've done 3 OmniKeys, and I have 2 more for my personal collection. So, like, if that's something you're interested in doing, like, dude, I can kind of tell you what we do with restoration. Like, all the plastic, so the ABS plastic, the bottom metal case, and then the plastic keycaps, thoroughly scrub those. Like, so I can kind of show you what we do. So again, the ABS top case, the keycaps, thoroughly clean those. If you want, I don't retrobrite, but for my personal boards, if you want them retrobrighted, we could retrobrite it. Also, too, on the back steel plate, we again fully clean up the bottom feet. We clean up the steel. If the original badges are on the back and they're peeling, I have a way of restoring those to where those look nice again. And then, of course, we restore the switches. One thing about Northgate OmniKeys is the steel mounting plate that holds the switches in place. They didn't coat that. It's bare steel. So that I'm assuming your plate's probably rusted to all hell. So, again, once we get the switches desoldered, I'll clean up the PCB. We scrub it with isopropyl alcohol, clean up everything, get all the rust off of it. I'll sand down the plate to bare metal, and then, again, we'll refinish that plate. And then once all the parts are done, the switches are restored, we'll reassemble everything, and we lube the stabs, and it'll be as good as new. Like, my 3 OmniKeys are amazing. Like, they're, like, brand new. I mean, other than, like, the yellowing, the plastic is perfectly clean. So, yeah, dude. Also, too, like, I could, well, if you want to restore it yourself, I could definitely, like, just kind of send you, like, kind of what I do. Oh, good. Yeah, definitely tear it apart and see what you can do. But, like, I can definitely send you kind of a list of things that you can do to the board and just give you my suggestions and kind of my methodology. And also, if you decide to restore it and you realize you hate doing it, let me know and I'll do it for you. So, so the offer stands open, dude. I'd be happy to take care of that board for you. So here we go, folks. So we got our little navies in here. So they're really sleek looking. I like that they're all black, which is nice. So, I mean, we're not going to see them, and they're really smooth for being what they are, man. So, yeah, so, yeah, dude, again, I'll definitely send you kind of a list of things that you can do to the board without going too crazy. But, yeah, definitely you want to, I would definitely tear the board apart, take the keycaps off, like, take, like, a vacuum and, like, a brush and, like, vacuum up all the crap that's under those keycaps. You probably are going to want to lube the stabilizers. And I'll send you a list of stuff you can do, and depending on how crazy you want to go in terms of tearing it down, so. Awesome. But yeah, that's a really, really cool board. So, all right, folks, I'm going to get the case, and then we're just going to mount this in the case. This is the most simple mounting method. So since we have those pogo pins, there's no cable we have to mess with. So we literally just get the PCB, and we just drop it in. And that's it. And we are mounted. Alright, that's it, folks. So, and like I said, oh, that will just fly out. Okay, cool. Note to self, don't let someone pick this thing up and do it upside down. Thankfully, that wasn't very high. So, yeah, so, note to self, yeah, don't do that. So, good to know. So be very careful with that, so. But yeah, we are mounted in here. Ooh, very quiet, very nice. All right, let's get our keycap set out. And we'll get our main alphas mounted. And then we'll kind of go from there. So let me just kind of move a lot of my tools and crap all out of the way. And we'll kind of go from there. So, all right, so we're going GMK Black and Gold. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll definitely send you my methodology too, just to kind of figure out how you can get everything properly restored. Ultrasonic clean goes a long way for the switches. That's what I do, because that'll just make the board. Oh yeah, they're scratchy as hell, so you gotta clean them up. There's just probably all kinds of horrible crap inside them that you gotta get cleaned up. So heck to the yeah. All right, let me get a diagram of the switch of the. All right, cool. Here we go. So I just want to get a diagram of the layout really quick. So I'm just on KBDFans' website. So also this board's like ridiculously cheap. Like you can get it for like less than $100. So, which is just kind of crazy. So a very, very cheap board. But the brass version's like $200. So, all right, EC PCB. Here we go. So let's do our alphas first with GMK Black and Gold, and then we'll kind of go from there. So. Alright, so this is a set I've been really looking forward to having. I got this set when I found out this was on Group Buy. I'm like, absolutely. Because one thing about me, I'm a big sports fan. And one of my favorite sports teams is Los Angeles Football Club. And this is literally the same colors as the team, black and gold. So this is like really sticks. So this is going to be like my LAFC keyboard build, which is going to be hilarious. So... yeah, so we'll get our alphas on here, and then we'll figure out our modifiers and then our bottom row. Because I want to definitely take advantage of some of the novelties for this board. And we'll kind of go from there. Okay, cool. That's the extent of that one. We'll go down to our next row and get that kind of set up. To be completely honest, I'd rather just pull this out and install this. I'm more comfortable installing the switches while it's out of the case. So, I mean the keycap, so we're gonna install everything before we put everything in. So, yeah, this is looking pretty good. This is a really, really good looking keycap set. So I'm really happy with how this one came out. Okay. JKL and then semicolon. Perfect. And then the last row of alphas. And then we'll figure out how we're going to do our modifiers, because I definitely want to utilize some of the novelties for this. And we'll get our 2 space bars out of our space bar kit we did. So this is looking pretty good right here. So just have our Agar kit right here. And we have, oh yeah, one more. Sweet. Okay, that's our main cluster right here. Ah, feels nice. All right, let's get our spacebar kit out. So we have our I had to purchase this add-on kit for the I didn't initially buy in the group buy, so I can get these 3U spacebars. So that was part of the reason we got that. So, all right. So we'll put on our spacebars. Yeah, these are very, very scratchy stabilizers. I can even hear the scratch. So I'm not a big fan of these stabilizers, so I'm definitely going to look into stabilizers that support these 3U wires, because I do not like these stabilizers. They're very, very scratchy. They don't rattle, but I hear that scratchiness and I don't like that. So, but yeah, so we're going to, now I want to look into, I want to just look up GMK Black and Gold really quick. I need to look at the layout, because I got a few of the kits. So I want to just take a look at GMK Black and Gold. Okay, that's the base. So I want to see. So I want to go to the Art Deco. Okay, 175. I want to see if I can use that 175. Okay, I want to look at my novelties kit in here, because that's one of the enters I want to use. that it? Yeah, that's an enter I want to use. This is what I'm going to use for my enter. Make sure that lines up. Perfect. So we're going with an Art Deco novelty for this one, which is really cool. And then, do we have any other cool novelties here that we can use? No, none I want to use. So now another novelty I want to use on the bottom. Give me a second. I want to look at this Art Deco. All right, shift. Okay, this is a 1.25U shift we're going to use. So that's good. And then we want another, so we need a 1.75U shift here. So yeah, we're just figuring out, because I want to utilize these Art Deco novelties. So is that correctly lined up? Perfect. And then we have to use our tab right here, which is really nice. Okay, I think we're going to use, what do I like? Really like this one. That's 1.5. Okay, give me a second. I got to pull up my other portion of my kit here. So I have some other parts that don't fit here. Oh yeah, this is the 40%, dude. This is not the proper Agar. So that's what soup meant. I don't want to text that to someone, but I want to see if that's the one we're going with. No, not that one. Okay. I want to see if we have... Is there any more? There we go. There's one. Okay, I think I'm going to go with this one down here. No, this is not a client build. This is my personal build. This is one of my personal boards. So, gotta find the other 1.25U of this. Where did I put it? Huh. Because I know I know what I'm about, son. Actually, I'm going to go with something a little different. Oh, those are tight, by the way. Okay. Really weird. Okay, we're going to go with these two right here. Okay. We're going to go with these, and then I want to see what novelty I can stick on the bottom right here. So we need to go look at the R4s. Okay, so we're going to go with these two. Okay, that's one. Need to find my other one. And all these stinking novelties, make sure everything goes right. All right. I think that's what we're going to do for this one. I just want to make sure everything is correct profile. Yeah, good profile there. And then I'm going to do this one. Okay, cool. Got those. All right. Looking good so far. Now I want to figure out, let's put that down there. Now I want to figure out my escape and my backspaces. I'm going to use novelties for this one. Yeah, it's a really cool board. So we need R2. So let's find my R2 novelties. Is that one of the R2? No. Okay, let's look over here. Nope. Nope. Right, they're going to be over here then. Now we're just pulling out a bunch of cool stuff here. So, cool. Let's figure out. That's an R2. That's another 2. No, that's not what I'm looking for. There it is. Cool. All right, I got my R2s. Cool. I want to figure out what I want to do. I'm going to put that one right there and stick that one right there. I think that's going to round out my novelties. Yeah, perfect. All right, let's put the rest of these ones back in the box. Yeah, there we go. There's our actual assembly, which is looks really clean. And this black is going to contrast great with the board. So I really like this. Again, the one thing I will do, I got to look into stabilizers and figure out a stab that I really like, because I hate these stabilizers. So, yeah, that is not for me at all. So, we're going to figure that out. So we're going to put the rest, let me put my phone to the side now that we have the layout figured out. I want to put the rest of these pieces over here in the kit, just so we can have everything kind of nice and organized together. So these are just kind of add-on keycaps that we're not really using. So I'm going to stick these in my GMK case, just so we have everything together. So. And then we'll just stick the rest of them up here in the box. So, awesome. Just put the rest of these keycaps in here just so we can kind of keep everything together. But yeah, this is going to be a super cool build, and I've been looking forward to using this keycap set ever since I got it. So to be able to finally have it is awesome. So got some good stuff right there. Perfect. Just throw that stuff to the side. Let's get my GMK box put back together. And then, you know, I'll put black and gold. And we finally have black and gold on a board, which is awesome. Cool. All right, let's get the case. And then we'll do a test and we'll program this thing while we're on stream, folks. So, all right, let's push her in. I heard that pogo pin going. And there we go, folks. Let's move my little work mat here. And then there we go, everybody. I'll move all my other hardware and miscellaneous stuff here. But yeah, there we go, folks. So there's our little board. It's a cute little board right here. So that GMK Black and Gold, the gold of the key on the lettering and the legends and the novelties looks amazing. So I think this was a perfect pairing for this keyboard. The black accents the gold of the brass perfectly. So yeah, so it's a really cool little build. So I love it. So let's get my USB-C. It's so small. It's so cool. I love it. So let's get the USB. Let's plug her in. And let's get her programmed. So, all right. Ooh, we have to flash this thing. There is no JSON on this board. Interesting. So yeah, it's not even being picked up by the computer. So. All right, cool. So we have to flash this board. So let's go into KBDFans' website. We are gonna have to flash this board on QMK, which is gonna be fun. So, all right, KBDFans. All right, let's go to KBD. We're on KBDFans' website. Let's go into their resources area, and we'll get the JSON for this board. All right, let's go in here. Let's go to the bottom. Resources. Here we go. All right. I don't need the plate files, but we need JSON. Okay, not needing that. So let's go to VIA. Can I? All right. Yeah. So let's go to VIA. Perfect. We got our firmware downloads. So yeah, this is a cool board. So let me go down to KBDFans. I'm on VIA's JSON list, and we'll get the JSON for this board. All right, KBDFans. Okay, it's not on VIA, so let me go on their Discord server really quick and see if the file's there. Because, yeah, this isn't registering at all, so I can't even test this board, which is annoying. KBDFans, here we go. So let's go into resources. Just trying to see really quick. Yeah, I don't see anything. Huh. Let me see this. No. No. Okay, let me see what these are. Alright, let me go down here. See if there's anything. No, these is all old. Okay, well. Alright, folks. I don't think we're going to be able to test or program this right now because I don't have the JSON. So I'm probably going to have to reach out to KBDFans. That's really weird that this PCB is not flashed. Like, that's really frustrating because I want to be able to, like, test this board. Like, it's not being picked up on my computer at all. Let me unplug my, actually, wait. Let me unplug my, my converter, like my vintage board. Let's see if that helps. So let me try that. So let me unplug the... Alright, let's try that again. Let me just... Maybe the vintage board is, like, causing issue. Let me try that. Yeah, that's not... Yeah, nothing's being picked up on this board, so... Alright. Yeah, so I think we're gonna... I'm gonna probably have to reach out to KBDFans. This board's not being picked up. And because there's no QMK firmware on there. Let me go to QMK really quick. Let's see. Okay, let me... Yeah, nothing's being picked up on this board, so I'm definitely going to have to reach out to KBDFans and see what's up. Because, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this particular board. But in the meantime, we can do a quick little sound test, folks, before we get on out of here. So this should be pretty good. So, I mean, it's Topre. It's very quiet. It sounds like Topre, so... Yeah, very, very thock. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it sounds like a Topre board. So, yeah, but it's really cool. I really like it. It's a really cool, nifty little board. I think it's really cool for what it is. So, yeah, but that is the Agar Mini, folks. It's an interesting little board. I really enjoy it, and I'm really happy to have this board in my collection. It's different. It's very unique. And I think it's a fun little board for the most part. So yeah, it's awesome. So just pushing everything in there and make sure we're like really, really firmly in there. So yeah, there we go, folks. And yeah, let me just see. Yeah, it does easily pop out. So that's the only thing I tell people. I guess if I go to meets, I gotta tell people, yeah, don't pick it up. So this would be definitely a do not pick up board for me, which is like super cool. But yeah, folks, there we go, folks. This is a really, really cool little board, and I freaking love it. So this is awesome, folks. So thank you, folks. I'll let you know if I get everything running up on KBDFans and kind of let you know what they say. So have a great evening, everybody. It's a good time.